Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? Happy New Year. Happy 2026. We're back again with another episode of Culture Attack. And thank goodness we're back on StreamYard because, Jesus, to bite the bullet, my local recording was giving me issues. And what's a new year without technical issues? But, we're here and got a lot to catch up. But of course, I'm not doing this alone. Never alone. Because virtually right beside me is the one and only Drew Yari from The Experience. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. A little tired, but I am doing well in this newest of New Year's. Hopefully, it's 1,000 times better than whatever the fuck 2025 was supposed to be. Because fuck 2025.
Yeah, yeah, 2025 sucked. It feels like a really bad dream. All things considering, we did lose people, uh, especially someone that I know you were close with
Mhm.
in the world of podcasting and especially in wrestling podcasting scene, and Kevin Castle, and of course still to this day, my condolences. Great guy, love him or hate him, like he told you the real. He was all about just giving his rawest, uh just him, just being himself. That's all you can do is just respect that. At the end of the day, you cannot, like, especially nowadays, like, just so much fraudulence and just superficial, like everything just feels superficial and plastic. And he was one of the Mohegans, just
Mhm.
authentic. And yeah, like, still to this day, it's still, I'm like, whoa, like that really happened, and unfortunately it did. And so many losses, so many people that didn't make it onto 2026. And of course, give my condolences to those who lost loved ones in 2025 that did not make it, physically into 2026. But as long as you keep the memory of, those lost, are they truly lost at the end of the day? You keep their memory alive. Like, I always, especially think about my stepfather passed away back in 2013, and I think about him every day.
Mm.
So while he's gone in the flesh, he's still here in the spirit. So yeah, but besides that, like, just everything in 2025 was not, it was just not good. Like, don't want to get political, personal, whatever, but just with the economy, just with like the aura, or the kids call the feeling, that feeling was definitely off. I i definitely noticed that with wrestling. Like, in 2025 it started off okay, little bumpy, a little rocky, but then with WWE, AEW, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what is, like, at the end of 2025 is like, whoa, like this, and I'm gonna cuss a little bit. This shit is garbage. Like, what is going on? Like, and I know uh, you review WWE, and it's like, I know it's like a pain, and you try to do the best you can reviewing the shows, I could imagine, but it's like it's just not. It hasn't been the same since WrestleMania 40. It just feels.
I mean, hasn't been the same since Hell in a Cell with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre from like 2024.
Yeah.
That's the last time it was actually good. Ever since then, it's just like last year was just bad. It was just bad all around, not just for WWE, but AEW. I mean, even Justin, who's like more forgiving to AEW than me, he's even like, yeah, the shows aren't very good. You
Yeah.
know, WWE, a lot of people want to blame Triple H. It's just like I'm not even sure it's all Triple H's fault, because a lot of this does seem like you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Especially with TKO, because this doesn't feel like WWE. It feels more like It feels more like TKO,
Yeah.
influence than WWE or Triple H influence. Aside from NXT, which is clearly the better of the show, where that seems to have more creative leeway, so to
Yeah.
speak, than the main shows. And I mean, there's been some high spots, but 2024, when it was Triple H, Triple H really running the helm, pun intended, that was more enjoyable to watch. That was, that gave me that feeling that I had back in like middle school and high school, where it was like, I need to stay home to watch Raw. I need to stay home to watch SmackDown. Whereas nowadays, it's just like, I can afford to miss a Raw,
Yep.
because it's like, especially if like something big is happening in the news, or if there's a pay-per-view coming up, or if it's like, hey, there's a Spurs game tonight. I don't know. I'm going to watch that over Raw, and I'll just like catch the replay. Um, especially tonight, SmackDown going back to 3 hours. It's like, oh,
Oof.
boy, and
Yeah.
I put up a tweet where I'd said, like, when SmackDown was 3 hours, there was at least some high spots, like, but you got more attention to the tag team division and the women's division. Um, and then with some NXT call ups, you can like see what they can do. But still, it's just like, I don't think anything should be 3 hours. I don't think. Let me reiterate that. I don't think any TV show should be 3 hours.
Yep.
If it's like a basketball game, I get that it goes in overtime, whatever. But like, wrestling shows shouldn't be 3 hours.
I agree.
You know, you know, uh, they really should. It's with AEW, for whatever reason, doesn't learn that lesson. Like, every show has to be 4 hours. You know,
Yeah.
all in last year, a few months ago, was like, I think 6 hours. I think 5 or 6 hours, and people found a way to defend that shit. Even Justin was defending it. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, no, no.
Yeah.
But just wrestling. It's not really fun to watch. I watch it because I'm still a fan. Um, and again, here's to hoping 2026 is a better year for, wrestling. And I say better year, and WWE's still going to make their money. And unfortunately, they're going back to that narrative of like, this has been, fiscally a great year for us, money wise. And it's like, yeah, but the shows suck.
Yep.
They're not that good. And again, here's to hoping they can put on a better product, for their matches and their shows. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, and I use the word cautiously, with big bold letters.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because we definitely got the shit end of the stick as wrestling fans, and been a lifelong wrestling fan, WWE fan, and even I remember leading up to the build for Mania 40. Like, that was like the last time for me really that it felt like, whoa, like this felt not only nostalgic, but felt like they were really pushing that envelope, like, and The Rock really being there, and yeah, like we can, we didn't like him inserting himself into the main event,
Yeah,
but that was a blessing in disguise, because if that didn't happen, who knows where we will be. Like, probably be worse, 10 times, 20 times worse. And I do think that there's definitely a lot of, like, egos when you have The Rock and Triple H, like two of the biggest egos. Now that Hogan, we know he had the biggest ego. Like he's gone, but those two have really big egos, and I know that they don't get along. And conspiracy theory hat time. Put that hat on for a bit. I really think that there is some sabotage, shenanigans that have went on leading up to Mania, this 2025 Mania 41, because they knew in advance that The Rock wasn't going to show up. He couldn't. He said it. Hey, like I can't make it, and they still sold Rock merchandise on Mania weekend. So it's like they knew, and all the best that they can do was Travis Scott. I'm just like, no way. Like literally, there was a way to salvage all that and still incorporate The Rock and just have Rock do like the recorded promos and vignettes that he was doing last for Mania 40 build. And it's like, why, if they did that for last Mania build, how come they couldn't do it for this year's, well, 2025's Mania build? So it's definitely a lot of shenanigans and a lot of sabotage. And I don't think Triple H is truly innocent in this, because he's the one with with the pen. He's the one with the pen. And I know TKO definitely, then like no party in this is innocent, but you gotta spread the blame evenly. But I would say even so, I'll put slightly more blame, extra percent or two or three or 10 towards Hunter, because at the end of the day, like it's on his watch. And I really think that there's a power struggle that we probably won't know until 20 years, if WWE is even around in 20 years, which I hope. I hope the wrestling industry is around in 20 years, but there's just like the whole the whole thing just seems that didn't sit right with me. Just looking back, and then with Cena's retirement run, and just it was a flop. Like it was really bad. No way to no way to defend it. It was really bad. It was executed
Mhm.
very poorly, and again, they Triple H tried to put Cena under the bus. Like, oh, look, it's Cena. It's like, no, like Cena said, hey, like you know, I go in there and then they tell me who I'm up against, and I say okay. And the only time that Cena, well, recently, the only time he has in this retirement run that he had is when he said, I want to go up against AJ Styles. Granted, no story, but fans wanted, a match with AJ Styles because that was one of Cena's best feuds, rivals, and it's AJ Styles, and we see how he's being treated. Like he's, in my opinion, I could be wrong. I could be looking at it through jaded pair of sunglasses, but it's just like no one feels larger than life, and this whole run of Cena just felt like that. And now that it's going to be the test for 2026, because we can't do the Cena retirement tour again. We can't redo it. Like it's done. That's it's in the books now. He's retired. He's not wrestling again. They can't rest on Cena retiring. And Lesnar and AJ Styles don't have that same like gravitas. Maybe Lesnar to a degree, but they don't have that same like level of oomph like Cena retiring had. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, I don't know what your whole thoughts on, because we can go long, but that's just like my short like thoughts and feelings on Cena and his retirement tour and the whole state of WWE. Because when WWE is doing well, when they're booming, other wrestling companies follow suit. When WWE is in the can, when they're not doing well, it shows the interest in other wrestling shows is low, even lower. And we're seeing that now, even with AEW and their their issues, and they have a lot of issues, believe me. But when WWE is doing well,
Mhm.
they're doing they're doing solid, and so are the other wrestling companies out there. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Cena's retirement run? I know you had uh, at length a conversation with Justin on your show on the experience.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think legit the whole show was just about Cena. Um, I didn't like the retirement. I gave it a D.
Yeah.
I think Justin gave it I think he gave it an F. If I'm not mistaken. It just, aside from moments and Cena doing some of the best like promo work I've seen him doing a while, and good matches, of course. It was just a giant it was just a giant piece of shit because Cena also brought up that like he offered to do 200, I think 200 like 60 or 70 dates, and WWE's response was, we only need you for 37. And I was more of the on the side of just like John Cena is offering you his time, which is a lot, and it's like 270 something dates, which that could have made this retirement tour mean that much more. And also, with the heel turn, that would have been much more interesting, is you having them there every week. But
Yep.
WWE just being fucking cheapskates. I shouldn't say WWE, TKO being cheapskates. They're like, we only need you for this much. And Justin leaned more into like, I get it. If it's like 37 dates, I get it. Like, hide his mystique. But I'm like, nah, fuck that. It's like John. I didn't say fuck that to him, but I just kind of went, it's fucking John Cena. It's like, it's his last year, it's his retirement tour. You having him there every week, just to show up and talk or to have a match, I think it would have meant something. It would have definitely done more for the ratings. It would have done more for the product, especially if they ended up doing his heel turn, even, during him being there that many days, it would have meant something. And that's why the heel turn ended up being, a pile of shit, because he wasn't there every week. And like, when the heel turn happened, he was like, he had to go leave to do a movie. Yeah. So he wasn't even there for like almost a month into the heel turn. And then what was his first like promo as a heel? It was overseas.
Yep.
It wasn't in America. And like, it shouldn't matter, but it kind of does, because, John Cena is supposed to be like this all-American hero. And it's like, I'm going to do my first big, promo as a heel in, was it not Yugoslavia, like Bologna, Italy or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so fucking weird. And then to top it off, they pick Washington, D.C. to have his retirement match and not Boston, because TKO, again, being cheapskates. So like, we're going to go where the money is. And it's like, but Cena's from Boston. Or no, he's not from Boston. He's from Massachusetts, but still. And it's like, that would have meant more. It's like, nope, DC paid more. It's like, I don't know. Like, and it just worries me about other retirements going forward, because AJ's going to retire this year.
Mm-hmm.
Brock allegedly might retire at SummerSlam because it's in Minneapolis. Yep. Then you have Randy. We don't know what he's going to do.
We have not seen him in a long time. Like,
nah, he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, I imagine he's still getting paid, handsomely, to just be at home with his hot ass Italian, wife, and like his, 10 kids, 9 of which are hers. But, it's not that many. It's like 3 boys, and like, he has a daughter that he had with his first wife and daughter with his current wife. But still. But it's just like, he's living life. Like, there's not going to be a thing of like, Randy Orton wants to go to AEW, and it's like, no, he's not going to AEW. Randy would fucking make Tony Khan's life hell.
Oh yeah.
He would not accept hugs. He would out wrestle and outwork everybody in that company. But that's another story for another day. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, the product is not that good. They're treating it like it's not even a wrestling company. Like it's really not a wrestling company. I mean, we can talk about the ticket prices until we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, they think it's a good idea. People are still buying tickets. So what else, what can we say? I mean, you see about these packed houses, and it's just like, well, people are still buying it.
Yep.
And like the day people stop showing up to the show is when they realize it's a bad idea. But as of now, if people keep buying it, then what can we say?
Right. Like that's exactly like it's really easy to say, well, prices are expensive for these events, like don't show up. But there are still people who go and they'll religiously go to these shows and spend money because they feel like what they're getting is a good product. Like they go for the, no pun intended, the experience, and they don't care. Like you have the average person that would just go and spend the money, not caring about storylines and continuity, and they just go for the moments. Like what the whole thing of 2025 was, just booking for the moment. There's no long term, stories or consequences from things that happen on these shows, and people don't care about that. Like a lot of people that go, they just want to see, they wanted to see Cena, they wanted to see Lesnar and Cody and McIntyre and all these, and Roman and Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso and all these people. They wanted, and Rhea Ripley, of course, Asuka, AJ, well, both AJs, AJ Lee and AJ Styles, just to name a few. And it's like, yeah, they just go to see all these people, all these, athletes and performers, and they want to see moments. They don't want to sit through a soap opera. It's like TikTok, just little bits and moments, and that's is no longer about long term storytelling. That I feel like it's gone to the wayside, and it's bad because you need that in wrestling. Like it's literally a male soap opera. You need that to, especially for episodic weekly television. You're gonna need that. You can't just book matches and matches, um, and it's gonna get kind of stale. Just, oh, we're gonna have good matches. Like who cares? Because we know in both companies they could put out good matches. It's all about the stories. That's why people were tuned in to the Bloodline and Roman, the Usos, and Solo, and The Rock inserting himself, and Cody with finishing the story, and Cody getting the shit whipped out of him literally, um, in the rain, and that's some storytelling. That's, as VCan will say, that's good shit. But we're not getting that now. And if we do, it doesn't lead to anything. And it's like, those the people who are going to these shows, they just want the moments. They don't want to sit through. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's who the show is booking for. It's not to have moments and storylines and getting the big bad. It's just about viral moments. Oh, it's a pop. Check on Instagram and check on TikTok and on ESPN. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day.
No, you're right. I mean, just like, and it's just, yeah, you said moments. People want moments. But it's just like lately we haven't really been getting big moments. They're charging an arm and a leg for these tickets, and it's like, what are we getting? What are we getting? Yeet. And it's like, yeah, the guy sells merch, big deal. You
Yeah.
know, like everybody's excuse is that he sells merch and he gets a reaction, and it's like once that bell rings, you know, and he also can't cut a promo, so people want to pay money for CM Punk because CM Punk knows how to do all those. He knows how to have a good match and cut promos. Roman, is barely there, but when he's there, he gets a huge reaction, and people want to hear. People just at this point, people just want to see Roman. I don't even think they even necessarily want to hear him talk. They just want to see him.
Yep.
And I mean that's really about it. I mean, Rhea, people still love Rhea. They still love Mommy. But yeah, that's essentially about it as far as like who's in the company that gets a big reaction, and that people will just pay money just to see, not even necessarily like have a match. As I know RJ on our show, he brought up about, because I mentioned Rhea Ripley. He said, nowadays it feels like Rhea is more show than go, and I said, like, I think there's a reason behind that, because at this point she's over, and the term over gets, I think, used too much, but in this case she's actually over. Like, she is at the point where all people have to do is just see her and they go nuts. Yeah. And that's really all you need. And like, if I mean, it was like that before, back in the Attitude Era, where it's just like you didn't need to come out and have the main event of WrestleMania on an episode of Raw or SmackDown. You just had to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, and as soon as you heard that glass break, people went fucking apeshit.
Yep.
Same thing with The Rock. Same thing with DX. Same thing with The Undertaker. But other guys, had to work to get had to really work hard to get over in that spot, like the Hardys. The Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, they pretty much had to kill themselves literally just to be seen, because they knew they weren't going to be in that kind of spot, so they had to work for it, and they did. So I don't know, wrestling is not as popular as it once was, and I don't think it ever will be. I think the best thing you can do is just make it cool. And for a while it was, and then it just lost its way. Like AEW was the shiny new toy, for a while, because it was seen as the quote unquote alternative. And then it just became WCW 2000. It just became TNA in the 2010s. As much as I don't want to admit it, it's true.
Yeah.
And, again, the positives obviously is there's another company that the wrestlers can go to and make money. And that's pretty much about it. I say time and time again, it's just like, I root for AEW to do better. It's just, if Tony Khan's booking the show, they're not going to do better.
Yeah.
Like, he knows who he wants to book for. They continue to book for a very niche audience that watches New Japan and All Japan and CMLL and Ring of Honor. And they assume people are going to know who these people are. And it's just like, I forget who said it. Is Ice Cube's son, who was like, if I have to Google who somebody is, then that's kind of a problem.
Right.
And anytime someone comes out, you hear Excalibur go, that's so and so. He won the fuckity fuck J Cup thingamajig back in 2013. It's like, what is that? Like what is that? It's like I'm going to steal a quote from RJ. It's like little Billy, at home is not going to know who these people are. Right. Like as much as you don't want to do it, eventually you're going to need to bring in somebody who is going to book for the filthy casuals. And as much as you don't want to do it, you're still going to be stuck in 500, 600K viewers. They haven't drawn 1 million in like I don't know how long. And again, not to say that WWE is doing any better, but granted they had a head start, but if AEW wants to get back to 1 million, they need somebody else booking the show, and Tony ain't it. But yeah. Tony's not going to let that go until somebody literally pries it from him.
Literally, yeah, because end of the day, like I'm happy that AEW exists as a company, and I don't want to see no one lose, you know, have to lose employment. But if what's being done currently isn't working, like they had, the MJF is now your AEW World Champion, good, but at the cost of Samoa Joe, who's again transitional champion, 2-time AEW champion, transitional champion, and I love Joe. Joe's awesome, but he, he won the title after turning heel at Hangman's expense, and that didn't work out. Hangman at AEW champ didn't work out. Then before that, it was Moxley, who was, I mean, we knew he was champ when he choked out Bryan Danielson with a bag, but then he had the belt in a briefcase for nearly a whole year. And it was only until wasn't only until Hangman won. And the reason why they had Hangman win it was because All In, Texas, the whole cowboy. I mean, but he's not from Texas. Anyway, it makes so much sense. he's not from Texas. But yeah, just like what
Mercedes isn't from Boston, even though she claims she's from Boston. She's from California. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that don't even get me started with Mercedes. But yeah, it's like how they needed to get back to MJF. It just shows that just the fact that Hangman isn't over. Samoa Joe, he was over, but he's straight as a transitional champion. Moxley and the whole Death Riders angle, terrible. And I heard that now he's a face and he's saying, oh, like we're wrestling, we love AEW, we love professional wrestling, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, wasn't this dude losing? And, his other teammates were like, what the fuck? And then they just clapping behind him. It's like, it does not make any sense. Like, it's just things that they have, just, and WWE is the same thing too. They have things just literally handed to them. Just the homework is done for them. All you need to do is just turn it in. Just copy it, turn it in, whatever. It's like, no, I'm gonna do it my own way. I wanna do it my own way. I don't want to copy. I don't want to turn this in. Okay, and guess what happens? They turn in the homework how they wanted to study, and then they end up getting the F. And it's like, oh, I failed. What happened? It's like, well, you didn't take my advice. Literally, stack of papers, done, guaranteed A. Nope, not gonna do that.
It's like the test is open book. I still want to study. It's like, but the test is open book.
Literally,
it's like, no. I got this. I'm good.
Literally.
Let me ask you something, because this is kind of, I want to get your opinion. I'm going to ask Justin when we do our show Wednesday. But like, you notice how big Swerve is getting?
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Oof. I mean, I've been saying this for a minute. When to be a larger than life character, like, you gotta have that size. You can't be, I'm not that Swerve is like scrawny. I mean, I get called scrawny, like, and I'm 200 pounds. I'm 200 pounds, 6 feet. So, when you're a professional wrestler, you gotta get some size on you. You gotta bulk up. Like, you gotta look the part as a wrestler.
I get that, but it's like in AEW, it's like, with the exception of like MJF, who's in better shape, but we kind of know where that's going. You see Swerve, who's like almost 40. I don't know if he's 40 already or if he's, like mid to late 30s, but like, who decides to all of a sudden get like in sick shape and get really fucking bulked up. It's like, do you kind of see that as almost his way to kind of get WWE to notice him again?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Because
I
yeah,
yeah.
yep, absolutely. Because he's realizing that I'm here. I became champion, and he feels like, okay, I did enough. I you know had my turn in the spotlight, and I want to go back. Like this ain't it. Like I did the whole AEW rah rah rah. Like this is not working out. I've like I feel like my ceiling is hit. And again, I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
if you're bulking up when the whole thing with AEW, the whole premise of AEW is to be an alternative, they don't really book, the big guys and big muscular guys, larger than life characters that way. Like, look, where's Wardlow at? Where's, Big Bill, aka Big Cass, those guys. The Lance Archer, where are those guys at? Um, and it's like, yeah, like he's bulking up to get notice. And I mean, if he does end up leaving, going back to WWE, uh, possibly, maybe they'll bring him in, and he'll. I still think he won't. He'll probably be world heavyweight champion if things are aligned. If everything that can go right goes right, he can be world champion. He's not gonna be WWE champion. No, no, no. But he'll be world champion. I think if of course they have a plan for him. But yeah, he's pulling up the bat signal. Like, hey, like WWE, you notice me, remember me, all that stuff I said before. Sorry, like I want to come back. Like it's literally that and he's getting older. Like he can't he's done all he can there. And the fact that he had like his moment with Hangman, and you know he was a star of that, and I felt like that was Hangman's like that's where he shined the most. Now it's just he's back to being just Adam Page, just always Adam Page. He's not Hangman, he's just Adam Page now. um yeah, I really think he's definitely pulling up that bat signal, like, hey, like WWE, like what's up, notice me again.
Yeah. Him, uh, MJF, he's still young and he was, smart enough to take the Mark's money.
Yeah,
So he's gonna get paid and then he's gonna go to WWE. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Jericho obviously is going back, and Jericho started getting into sick shape, at 55. So he's coming back, and more than likely he'll show up on Monday. That's kind of the talk.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I see that happening, and I just go, okay, they're taking their fitness a lot seriously, and that's obviously good. Because if you're an athlete, in general, regardless of what sport you choose, and yes, I'm going to be one of those people that calls wrestling a sport. But like, pretty much if you're involved in something that requires you to take your shirt off, you should take your you should take your fitness a lot seriously. And yes, I know I'm fat. I have a belly, but it's like I'm not being paid money to, be an athlete. If
right.
you're someone who's an athlete, you should take your fitness and your health a lot seriously. And
Right, literally, you're getting paid for that. You're getting paid to perform, to be athletic. So of course, they're paying you. They're paying you to stay healthy, to perform. Like it makes sense. Hey, we'll focus on your physique a little bit. Get
right,
some definition on your arms. Your chest, your traps. Your
right.
back.
And it's just I look at everybody in AEW with the exception of, like I mentioned, Swerve and MJF, and it's like, I mean, Samoa Joe's always been thick his whole life, so he kind of gets a pass.
Yeah,
Eddie Kingston, God bless him. The guy was away for so long, and yes, I know he had an injury, but it's like he came back even fatter.
yeah,
And a part of me still likes Eddie Kingston, but it's like that's a guy who could have been like the Mick Foley for AEW, but he chose to do his Japanese wrestling of slappy, kicky. Dad Bod Moxley. That's my new name for him, Dad Bod Moxley, who was in good shape in WWE, and then he goes to AEW because he wants to do his tribute to hardcore and Japanese wrestling, and for some reason always gets ranked over Gunther every year as the wrestler of the year or whatever. And it's like, how?
Yep.
Like, nobody can seem to give me an answer that makes sense. Like, I was getting mad at RJ because he kept explaining it in a way where it's just like, well, this is why, Drew. I'm like, but he fucking sucks. And RJ's like, Drew, I know he sucks, but this is why. And we know who the PWI lists are for. Like, we get it, but it's just like, I can't help but get mad when Jon Moxley is always in the top 5 of Wrestler of the Year and is ranked over Gunther and CM Punk. And it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Everybody else in that company, it's just like, and I really hate to pick on the guy because I like him. And granted, he might be going through like a medical issue right now, which he is. But it's like Adam Cole, who in CZW and Ring of Honor, like the guy actually had muscle mass to him.
Yeah.
Gets to WWE and they were able to really put a lot of like smoke and shadows on him to kind of cover up the fact that he was, tiny. And then he gets to AEW and it's like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened with this dude. And granted, it could be a medical thing and I could sound like a giant fucking cocksucker right now.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know what happened to that dude. I really don't. And I like Adam Cole, but it's like, what happened to that guy? Like, physically. And yes, I know he had a concussion or a broken neck. And it's like, but still, it's like, what happened to his physique?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the question I'm asking too, because like, damn, man. It all started when, he was partnered with MJF and, he went to, try to save MJF and he like landed on his ankle, twisted it. And that's and then that horrific, Undisputed Kingdom storyline. That was terrible. That was really bad. And that's like the downfall. And I like Adam Cole. Like, he's like NXT Black and Gold. Like, that was like, he ruled that era. And I'm like, damn, like, and I don't think we're gonna get that back. We're not gonna get that Adam Cole back, unfortunately, because if it's true, like, his career is over, and it sucks because he didn't get to win the big one. And who knows if he would have stayed in WWE, if something else would have happened. We don't know, but it's like, all we can do, like all person can do with their choices, just accept what happened and try to do the best they can, going forward. But it sucks that his career was cut short, and again, like, AEW is the culprit, because just the way that they present their stars, how they book, how just the whole presentation of certain people is it just does not make any sense. It's just,
and like, that's kind of the story, is that there's people I like in AEW. It's just like, for the love of God, it's like Willow Nightingale. Like, please get her out of that company. Yeah. And I like the tag team of her and I almost called her Chelsea Green, but she's not Chelsea Green. What the fuck's her name? The British, the one that like has a puppet.
Harley Cameron.
Harley Cameron. I like her. Yeah. I like both of them together. I think they're good. I think the women are probably more interesting than the men in AEW, which is kind of apropos, because that's kind of what it's like in WWE. Yeah. I think Harley Cameron eventually, it's just like she went to AEW to get herself over and to get a character, and eventually she's going to go to WWE. Willow Nightingale, someone in creative in WWE needs to move heaven and earth to try to get her, because she will be a much bigger star in the women's division, and they kind of need all the help they can get. Um, Other people like Brody King, it's just like Brody King, Buddy Matthews, like, please leave that company already.
Yeah.
Like, please leave that company already. Go be with Aleister Black and do the spooky, evil group thing in WWE. Like, do that.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, please. The main event scene, I'm not that interested in because it's just like, I think Samoa Joe is going to go back to WWE. That's kind of how I see it. I think it's amazing that when he got to AEW, he ended up being the Samoa Joe of old.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do think he's going to W. I do, in my opinion, I think he's going back because I think Triple H wants to do CM Punk and Samoa Joe in WWE at some point.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be dope.
Great. Yeah.
MJF, I mentioned. Swerve, I mentioned. Hangman Page ain't going. No. I think he's too stupid to save.
Yeah.
He's already kind of exposed himself for being exactly who we thought he is. Moxley is content with just making money and doing the stupid hardcore shit.
Yep.
FTR, that's a lost cause.
Yeah.
Especially with Dax, who clearly something is wrong with him. Like, just clearly.
Yeah, he has JD from NY derangement syndrome. Like, he made a.
This is coming from me. I give JD a pass because at least JD has a reason for things, and he's successful. He's made a success off of just being a wrestling podcaster, and he bought a fucking condo with the money he made off of podcasting and a car.
Yeah.
So it's like, hats off to him. And I've kind of warmed up to JD recently.
Really?
But
this is news to me.
warmed up. I'll say warmed up, but like with my fingers perched up like this much.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, Dax, clearly there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Like, clearly. You know what I mean? The guy just picks fights with people on social media that don't like AEW. And every fucking time someone says remotely something bad about AEW, he has to be the one that goes, AEW is amazing. And how dare you try to take food off of my baby's table? I'm trying to feed my daughter, god damn it. And it's just like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, seriously, what is wrong with you? Fucking Ricochet tried doing that, and Ricochet realized, no. So he just kind of stuck to whatever the fuck he's doing. But it's just
a cool heel is not working. It's just something just really wrong with certain people that go to AEW and they feel that they had to, just defend, the company. And it's like, you as a grown man shouldn't have to do the bidding of another grown man for his company. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, people can be critical, and a lot of them are critical because they love wrestling. Just as they claim, they get on in the ring and they cut a promo, I love wrestling, I love AEW, this is the best wrestler, but you're not. You're doing the opposite of what is needed for wrestling to be good, which is accept criticism, bring in healthy criticism, and in turn, do better. And it's like, no, because for them to actually admit that, this is kind of bad, we need to do better, it shows that they're, what they believed in was wrong, and they don't want to be wrong, so they double down, triple down, quadruple down, because they have to believe in the narrative that they're selling, that they don't even believe that they don't believe what they're selling to the people. So they, in turn, they got to double down. And it sounds ridiculous. Like, you hear, Moxley with the rah-rah speech after that storyline is the main reason why more people have tuned out from the product. Like, a lot of those people are not coming back. and then you want to go and say, hey, like we're for wrestling, we're for AEW. You know, it's the best. This is where the best wrestle. We love AEW. This is for all the wrestlers back there. Meanwhile, not too long ago, he was choking people out. He was attacking people, uh, just all this nonsense, uh, kidnapping people, choking people out in plastic bags. And it's like, okay, so people are just going to forget about that. You're just going to forget about what he did. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm stupid for calling out something that doesn't make sense. I guess I'm the moron, right? And yeah, it's
Yeah, it's just
it's just it just does not make any sense.
it's a
And like
cult. It's a cult.
literally it's a cult. Literally it's a
It's
cult.
it's fucking cult. Like any, it's like with the actor Timothy Chalamet. You know, he was on Cody Rhodes' podcast and he talked about how much he likes wrestling, and I think he said ECW One Night Stand from '06 is his favorite pay per view ever. And you know, it was kind of fun seeing him just talk about wrestling and be like, yeah, I spoke to Hunter and I said, hey, you should do a show in the Hammerside Ballroom. And, you know, we should do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. You know, Oscar nominated actor Timothy Chalamet just, you know, nonchalantly talking about wrestling. I always find that cool when the people you least suspect to like wrestling end up liking wrestling. And of course, the Colts had to go after him and be like, you should watch real wrestling and not WWE. And just,
Yeah.
you know, the same shit that, and this kind of seems like something that could be a long conversation, but like the stuff with William Regal, where he literally just, all he said was just like wrestlers need to be careful in the ring.
Yep.
Just essentially, that's all he said. He didn't direct it at anyone. And granted, this was off of was it World's End pay-per-view where John Moxley dropped somebody on his head. Or was it a Cal Fletcher?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, lovely. That's what happens during every fucking show. Same thing with Gail Kim when all she did was just talk about Riho and her presentation. Where it's like, why is she dressing like like a fucking teenage schoolgirl? That's weird.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course the cultists are just like, you know, fuck you, you're just a bitter old bitch, and you know, fuck you, Regal, and blah blah blah. And it's like, even Kenny Omega defended Regal. He's like, yeah, I agree. I mean, granted, Kenny is kind of the catalyst for a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
Because the guy's 40 and he pretty much looks like melted ice cream. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You know, he's not the Kenny Omega from 10 years ago. And I wasn't even a fan of Kenny Omega 10 years ago, but he was more athletic back then. But it's just these cultists that I don't understand. I don't understand why you need to go out of your way to defend people that would not piss on you if you're on fire. I just don't get it. You know, and I don't mean to be like political, but it's like with the Trump thing. It's like with the MAGA people, you know, the Charlie Kirk people who are like, he was like a modern day MLK. No, he's not. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. These people, they'll never change.
Yeah, it's I just think that when it comes to just the whole tribalism, and even, you know, not just wrestling but in general, politics and religion, like people get really tribal because, you know, quite frankly, a lot of these people have no identity than, you know, other than their race or their hobbies or passions or their job, and then they have to defend it because they feel threatened when someone, you know, comes in their bubble and, you know, snaps them back into reality. And they defend the thing as the thing is, you can blatantly see it's not doing well. You blatantly see there's issues. You blatantly see that the cult isn't it's a cult. Literally, it's literally a cult, and it's just like, no, like I gotta, like, this is my identity. Like I am nothing with my identity. With cults, they literally strip you of your individuality, and then your personality becomes the cult. And it's the same thing with AEW in this case, and even
Mhm.
with other things like religion, politics, et cetera, gender, what have you. And it's like you are more than your gender identity, your political or religious affiliation, who you pray, who you sleep with, how you shave your ass. Like you're more than just that. Like you are the sum of all your experiences. You should not just dilute yourself just to fit in or feel popular or what have you. You should not have to do that just to fit in. And that's why like the AEW gets a bad rap, and even to an extent with WWE, because I see a lot of the positivity vultures when people criticize WWE, deservedly so, because they're not immune, like we mentioned earlier. They're not immune from the criticism, but it's just easy to tack on and pile on AEW because they're the new kid on the block. And I feel like if they got their shit together, they will not. They're not going to overtake WWE overnight. Like no, but they will definitely be a solid number two. But they have their own issues, and when people bring up the issues, like hey, like gotta change, gotta improve on this. No, the cult, the cultist comes out and speaks, for them, and it's like they don't get it, and it's okay. Like not everyone's gonna get it. Can't save everyone because, unfortunately, like a friend of mine, were recently like talked, and he's like, yeah, like I believe that the majority of people are just not that intelligent. They just go along to get along. They follow. They're not really leading anything. They just look for opinions to latch onto, and it becomes who they are. They don't have any semblance of free will, free thought. And for them to actually think for themselves and actually go about having any semblance of free will, it's hard. Like to think for yourself, it's scary. It's hard. It's like cooties. Like they don't want it. They just want people to do the thinking for them. And you see it with wrestling, because we are talking about wrestling. And yeah, it's just unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Like a person like me and you, I'll say we're smart. We have semblance of common sense, but people don't. And it's just you cannot save everybody. Like you gotta let people come to their own conclusions. And if they want to drown while you're giving them, a lifeline, gotta let them drown, because they're gonna drag you along with you. So
It's I think it's also mainly just these people online are just mentally unwell.
that too, yeah, yeah,
You know, you can't argue with these people because at the end of the day, you can bring them straight up facts. They're just always going to find a way to ensure that they're right in their head. It's no matter what you do, no matter what you say, it's always, you suck, I hate you, you should die, your family should die, I hope your dog dies, I hope your daughter and son both die. It's just like, and I hate to use him as an example, but it's just like you look at what John's going through. Like, John, he'll always get anyone, like anytime he says anything remotely negative about it, it almost seems like it's just coming from the AEW crowd.
yeah,
You always get the people that are going to use Kevin as an example. It's like, oh, your brother's dead. Ha ha ha. Oh, your brother's dead. You're bald. You're old. You suck. Did I mention that your brother's dead? And it's
yeah,
like, these fucking sick dipshits even went as far as to make a fake Twitter profile with John's face saying dead brother.
yeah. I saw
And
that.
it's
I was pissed. I saw that.
I'm pissed too because just like that was my friend. I mean that's his brother, but it's just like, like what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like I know what's wrong with you, but it's like it's wrestling at the end of the day. It's fake.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. Sorry to say that loud, but it's fake. It's a fake. It's a fake sport. This isn't UFC, even though UFC you can make the case that that's fucking rigged and fake as fuck. But it's like, this is wrestling, people. These uh, fucking Mark Calloway is not really dead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, he's not really a zombie.
Not. He's not.
Steve Austin. Well, Steve Austin does flip people off. I should use another example. Roman Reigns doesn't really go around to everybody in town and tell them to acknowledge him.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen.
Did. It'll be cool if he did, but he
Yeah,
doesn't do that really. But it'll be cool if he did.
Yeah, they're pretty boss.
Yeah.
It's just this is fake. It's fake. It's fake. I have to yell it so these people can fucking understand.
Yeah,
no, but that's my closing thought on it.
Yeah, no, bro. Like it's just the main issue is that you have people like I mentioned a few moments ago. Like you just have people that are so tied, that have that identity tied into a thing or a hobby or a fandom to the point that they're no longer like they're that person is longer a person. They're basically whatever whatever their fandom or trend or hobby is. And whenever someone says, hey, like maybe they should have done it this way, it's like, oh, you're f you, like who you are to say, give your opinion out. And they'll talk about your dead family members, pets. They'll bring up whatever like imperfections you have, because it's a reflection of who they are. They see everybody as the issue. They see everybody as the enemy, and they cannot, like, they just lost touch with reality. So with these people, you wonder why a lot of these people are into wrestling and anime and hobby league, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic. It's like the same trope: the overweight, six chins, Cheeto stain, wrestling shirt that's two sizes too small, probably is into some questionable, because we're talking about Riho and how she dress. That's what some of these dudes like, and definitely on the list. Definitely on sort of our registry list. And I'll leave it at that. Try to keep it, that's PG. But yeah, it's like they just fit that trope, and it's like you wonder why these people get clowned on, because funny enough, they follow that stereotype. And there's just no reason with these people. They're just mentally ill. They're never happy. They're never gonna be happy. And that their whole identity, the whole existence of being, is just this fake sport that we all know it's fake. It's the curtain has been lifted a long time ago. All of our favorite wrestlers are friends with each other, and they have their buddy, and yeah, it's like that. Stop it. It's fake. It's not real, and you gotta snap back to reality. But unfortunately, not everyone can wake out of that, wake out of that like dream, wake out of that mentality. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. So it's again, it is what it is. With these fans, and also all we can do is just, I mean, I when I see with everything, even in gaming, streaming and politics, like nah, I just laugh. Like it's like, wow, like you really believe that? Doesn't matter what side, because you got to understand that this whole world is one big work. like politics, just our everyday lives is one big work. It's like none of it is real at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
people need to come to grips with that. Like, stop expecting people to come save you, politicians come save you, corporation that you buy your stuff from gonna save you. They're not gonna save you. Wrestling company Triple H is not gonna come and save you. Tony Khan's not gonna come and save you. John Moxley isn't gonna come and save you. CM Punk ain't gonna save you. Roman Reigns, as much as I love Roman Reigns, he's not gonna come and save you either. None of these people are gonna come and save you. You gotta basically be your own savior and understand that the shit's fake. End of the day, it's it's we love it because of the mystique, but at the end of the day, it's not real, and you gotta come to grips with that. And unfortunately, many people are going to be stuck in the matrix, thinking that thinking differently. Unfortunately,
Yeah, that's life.
yep, that is life indeed. But yeah, before we head out, gotta talk about the Avengers Doomsday teaser trailers, because there were two.
Mhm.
There was one that was leaked, and that was with Captain America, and then Marvel released the official HD trailer, and then we got the one with Thor
Mhm.
recently, and there's supposed to be another one coming out on Tuesday. And I think with the that humanity, like literally, like the amount of cast members in this film is enough to run a small company. It's insane.
Mhm.
Um, what what do you think? Because I have an inkling of how they're gonna pull out these trailers. Do you think that they're going to have they're gonna have like all the cast members, like um all the uh officially announced cast members have like their own little teaser to build up anticipation for the film, and then it's coming out in December 2026, so this year now. So
Mhm.
you think that we're just gonna get a bunch of trailers leading up to the release date, and then maybe we'll get a surprise or two?
I think that would be a pretty good idea because I like the fact that they're marketing the movie already. Because Marvel, they had a good year, this past year. Um, it kind of seems like they're going back to quality over quantity, but they still need to get people back in their good graces again, especially the filthy casuals. And I was saying, I've been saying for a while, their movie division is what needs more work. They need to put out more of their heavy hitters, and the TV they can get away with being more creative with like ancillary characters, but like the movies is what needs more work. And next year or this year, it's already this year. We're getting Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and Avengers. So I like the fact that they're putting out these mini trailers or teasers, because it feels very comic booky, and I mean that in a good way because they're setting up this huge event that's coming in December. And I like the fact that, we got the Steve Rogers one, which is basically just him, it's showing his life, post Endgame. And then, the Thor one, which that looks a lot more serious, which I'm glad because Ragnarok was good because it showed that Chris Hemsworth is very talented and he has good comedic timing. And then they took advantage of that and they're going, well, we'll just make Love and Thunder all comedy. And it's like, no, 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 no. They took all that character development and just kind of threw it away in that one movie. So I'm glad that we're getting serious Thor again. Which I hope he's not too serious, because if he's too serious, he's probably going to be a little boring. But the recent trailer I liked. I liked a lot more than the Steve Rogers one because it had more oomph to it. Um, with him saying, I want, hopefully I can come back and defeat a new enemy, so that way I can be more than just a warrior to her. I can be a protector to her. I can be, warmth to her and teach her, kindness. So I like that. And then the next one coming out is, the X-Men. That's the next teaser coming out, which I saw the leaks and I'm not gonna lie, I got horny because just seeing James Marsden in the comic accurate Cyclops suit. Not so much James Marsden. James Marsden didn't make me horny because I like women. I just want to put it out there. Not that there's anything wrong with being horny for James Marsden because he's a very handsome man, but just the mere fact that we're getting comic accurate X-Men suits is what made me horny. So got to point that out. The fourth one's supposed to be about the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four. So you're going to see the Fantastic Four interact with the Black Panther and the Wakandans. I don't know of any other ones that are coming out. I kind of hope they continue setting up these mini teasers. Well, it seems weird saying mini teasers because they're teasers, but I like the fact that we're getting these teasers every other, month leading up to Doomsday because it just makes us even more hyped up for Doomsday. It makes the movie mean that much more. So I kind of hope we get more. Whatever that is, I don't know. But I kind of hope the trailer that we get, which eventually we're going to get a trailer, and I kind of hope that's the only trailer we get.
Yeah.
Where all we get is we see Doom, we see shit happening, and that's it. I don't want to see any more trailers. I don't want to see any more spoilers. If there's characters that we don't know that are in this movie, keep it that way. Keep it that way until the movie comes out. I don't want to see anything else. And I do like the fact that they've really been keeping a lot of shit under wraps with their behind the scenes stuff because all we've really seen is stuff that Marvel and the Russos put out. That's literally all we see.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything else from the X-Men side. We haven't seen anything else from other secret characters showing up. And I like that. I don't want to know too much. I hate the fact that we have behind the scenes footage, before a movie comes out because I want to know this shit, the day of the movie. And then I was saying with RJ on our show, I hope they do that with Secret Wars where we get teasers. We can get a teaser for the Spider-Man. We can get a teaser for other stuff from Fox and Sony. We can get a teaser for Deadpool. We can get a teaser for Wolverine. Yep. So we get a teaser for Gambit. That'd be pretty fucking cool. So I like the teasers. I think they're doing their job because they're making Doomsday mean that much more.
I agree. Yep.
So it makes me hyped, for a big event because Doomsday is a big event, and will it necessarily be a great movie? I mean, it kind of has to be, but I think it just needs to do its job and bring people into the theaters and give them what they want because the multiverse stuff hasn't been great. The stuff with Doom and Downey and bringing back Chris Evans, it just reeks of desperation. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. It reeks of desperation because it's the stuff hasn't been that great, so we need you back. Yeah. And the Sam Wilson thing didn't really work out, so we're going to need you to come back. And it sucks for Anthony Mackie because the Captain America movie didn't feel like his movie. It felt like somebody else's movie. It felt like a movie that served as a sequel for Incredible Hulk and to tie up loose ends for Eternals. Two movies that are notoriously not, in the good graces of Marvel fans. So I feel bad for Anthony Mackie and, the character Sam Wilson, where it's just they didn't really get their own movie. So, and again, I don't think they're purposely bringing in Chris Evans as a way to be well, move aside, Sam. I just think it's just it's Doomsday, it's Secret Wars, so why not bring back these guys? But yeah, I'm still cautiously optimistic when it comes to Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom, because it's I already know they're going to do something that links Tony Stark to Doom. That's kind of a given.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things of like, we'll wait and see, because I have faith in the Russos, and Downey's obviously a great enough actor to pull it off. Um, I always say it's just like, when it comes to that character and, Downey, it's like, if you can bring the same kind of acting and intensity that you brought to Tropic Thunder and Oppenheimer to this role, and make me forget that you were ever Iron Man, like that's what I'm looking for in this role.
Yeah.
But yeah, these teasers, they're, again, go back to the teasers. The teasers are, I think they're doing their job. They're making people invested into the movie, and that's, if you're Marvel, that's what you want.
Yep. No, I agree. Like, you want this fanfare, this level of fanfare for a Marvel film, because let's be honest, the last string of movies, like overall, minus one or two films here, has just been just not good. And people want Chris Evans, they want, well, more so they want, Steve Rogers, Captain America, they want, Thor, they want Iron Man, Tony Stark, they want they want Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, they want all these characters, all these bringing in all these unestablished characters and put them in on the big screen won't and hasn't worked. That's the reason why the original Avengers worked so well, is because they had a long time to just a really extensive story arc. They had time to flesh out their characters and show up in the main Avengers films, and had their own standalone films, and things were connected, things made sense. And they tried to put the cart before the horse, and as a result, all that goodwill, all that work that they did in the last three phases was just thrown out. And now they had to basically do a soft reboot. So I'm hoping they learn their lesson. I mean, knock on wood, but when it comes to money, they'll do anything for money. And then when things are leveled, okay, just throw everything back in the bin again and just do what we really wanted to do, because what we wanted to do doesn't involve the original cast. And they just did this because enough people were they were, complaining. Enough people were complaining. But now I really think that people need to show up, and if it's good, sing its praises. But if it's bad, call it out. I don't think it's gonna be a bad film. I think that it's gonna be a way better film than a lot of the other films that Marvel put out. But I don't think it's gonna be like this return to form. That's gonna be a long process. They need a couple of more films to they basically have to redo what they did with the original first three phases. Everything leading up to Endgame, they had to do that over. And unfortunately, like, just again, all that time wasted. That's why people are upset overall. Like, if they introduce these new characters, right, with the same level of care and cohesion as they did with the original Avengers cast, they would have been well received. But they just felt like, oh well, people watch because it's Marvel, and look how that turned out. So I hope they learn their lesson.
And it's just like, not to mention the past, like, what, 4 years of post-credit scenes that haven't really paid off yet. You introduce these new concepts and you haven't done anything with it. It's like with Shang-Chi. It's like the movie came out and it was, well received and it made money, but it's like, where's he been since then?
Yep.
Yeah, we know he's in Doomsday, but it's like, what has he done since then? It's like you introduced a new character 4 years ago, and he's going to be in a big movie, and he hasn't even had his second movie since then. And I don't blame him for kind of calling Marvel out on that, where it's just like, yeah, where's the sequel to Shang-Chi? Like, what the fuck? And then like other post-credit scenes where it's just like the Hercules scene in Love and Thunder. It's like, what happened with that? Introducing Blade in an off-camera cameo in Eternals, which was just fucking dumb. Or the other post-credit scene in Eternals, where you introduce Harry Styles as was it Star Fox, who's supposed to be the brother of Thanos. Where has he been? Who else? The Doctor Strange post-credit scene with Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Who?
Where's that?
Who basically that was basically that meme of Marvel where it's just like, fans will stay into the credits to see somebody step through a portal and say, "I'm hippity McSkippity," and goes to the credits. That was basically that post-credit scene of Charlize Theron, who that should have been a big deal because fucking Charlize Theron. Yeah. And it's like, what happened with that? Nothing. Even Charlize Theron's like, I haven't been called about that just yet. And obviously we're gonna find out about it in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but it's just like that should have been something you should have done, like, maybe sooner than later. But whatever. But I don't know. That was during that downtime of like, we're putting out content. We're not really putting out good shit. We don't worry about putting out good shit. We're putting out content. And also the Marvels. The post credit scene with the X-Men with Beast.
Yeah,
that should have been something we should have been talking about for months, but it came out during a fucking terrible movie, and that's why nobody cared. So, and again, I reiterate, this past year, this has probably been one of Marvel's better years because they put out, better things, movies and also, TV shows. But it's just like, okay, you can't just let this shit isn't just going to work overnight. You need to really bring people back in your good graces, and
absolutely.
not just the hardcore comic book fans, but the casuals. And I'm glad that they're downsizing when it comes to movies. Like, no more of this. There's going to be 4 movies. I'm like, no, I don't want that. That's too much shit. And, I do think the Disney Plus thing has kind of hurt in a way where it's just like people were already turned off by the fact that they had to watch other movies to watch one movie.
Yep.
And then you introduce the narrative of like, I have to watch 2 movies and 3 TV shows just so I can understand this movie better.
Yep.
And then this TV show better. It's like, no, not everyone's a freak like me where I watch all this shit and not by choice.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's too much content. And I'm glad that they're downsizing, and a lot of directors working for Marvel are like, yeah, we're not going to worry too much about homework. Like, we're just going to put on shit that everyone can enjoy. And I think it's kind of funny how the Russos said that Doomsday is going to feel more like a direct sequel from Endgame. And
yeah,
it almost seems like they're saying, yeah, all that other shit that happened between Endgame, fuck that. we're not gonna acknowledge that shit. We're not gonna acknowledge the Eternals or the Marvels or any of that dumb shit. We're just gonna focus solely on the movie that made $2 billion and that everyone universally loved.
I mean, they kind of have to, because all of that was just not good. Like all of that, like they tried to do too much while at the same time undermining what they've built, thinking that, well, these dumb fans, because we spend money to go to the theaters, we spend money on the streaming services, we got the merch, all that good stuff. So these companies, these corporations, like, the main takeaway is that you cannot expect them to do right by you all the time, because they only care about their bottom line. The reason why we got two new Avengers films, because originally it's supposed to be the Kang Dynasty, supposed to have come out. Was it last month or the month before? I believe
Mhm.
they, because of what happened with Jonathan Majors, all that was just flipped, and due to all so many other factors, they were like, okay, we got to change. We got to bring in the Russo brothers. We got to bring in Robert Downey Jr. We got to bring in Chris Evans. We got to bring everybody. You know, they had to change because it was not good. The trajectory that Marvel was going with,
Right.
with the product was not good. There was no way it was going to sustain any more losses because they lost money. And
Right.
when a
And
company loses money, they're going to pivot no matter what.
yeah, I remember, was it, I think it was like 2023, like two of their films, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like they had two films that lost money. And it was Ant-Man Quantum Mania, which they actually introduced Kang, and they just made him look like a buffoon. He ends up losing to like the weakest Avenger.
Yep.
And then they had the Marvels, which I think is like their lowest income like to date as far as like box office film. And I remember it's weird because I'm starting to remember things. Unfortunately, it's like,
yeah,
I remember because like with Marvel films, like it's supposed to feel like a big thing when, because like I remember they marketed the shit out of Quantum Mania, and obviously that didn't work out. But like with the Marvels, there was a point where I was forgetting that movie was coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, the Marvels is coming out this month. And they really weren't marketing that at all. And granted, they probably saw the writing on the wall and like, yeah, this movie's gonna suck. But like even during the times when Marvel was at their peak, it's like they marketed the shit out of the first Captain Marvel movie. And that's not good. That wasn't a good movie at all. But that still made them $1 billion.
Yep. It was right
you know?
between two films leading up to Endgame.
I mean, granted, that was a perfect spot, but it's just like, because all the hype was around what's going to happen with Endgame. And other films that they marketed that weren't particularly good, but it still made them money, like Iron Man 3 made $1 billion. And I like it for different reasons, but it's not really one of the better ones. So just, yeah, again, I'm glad that they're back to formula. I'm glad that they're just like, yeah, fuck all those other whack movies. We're going to focus on the good ones. So, yeah, again, I'm glad they're back to form.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to do less is more. They have to basically retcon and clean up a lot of loose ends with this debacle that was, the last two phases. They got to like just clean up and just bring back to form, and actually, like, if you're going to introduce new characters, have new Avengers and whatnot, you have to treat them like a big deal by actually having them go through the same path as the original Avengers were with the films, the Avengers films, and then their own standalone films, and just do less. Don't for the sake of putting out content, just put out C, D, E, and F tier, superheroes and villains that no one cares about because they haven't been fleshed out. That's how you basically destroy what you've built. Because it's very difficult to build something over years and years, but in a matter of months, a year or two, you could just destroy everything. And it's just very important to it's just very important to understand that. And I hope they learn their lesson, but of course, when you're losing money, you kind of have to learn that lesson really quick.
Right. And also, not for nothing, it's just that was a different regime, because I remember Bob Iger, he left around like 2019, 2020, and then the other guy came in whose name I'm blanking on, and that's, again, when he was in charge, that was when, not even just Marvel, Disney in general, like that was when Disney was losing money. So So then Bob Iger came back and he took the reins, and now recently they're starting to kind of make, some of their money back. And granted, it's not all perfect because, a lot of the live action remakes don't really do that well, particularly, but that's another story. But like, yeah, in closing, I'm a Marvel fan. I'm glad that they're kind of getting back to their roots and just writing better stories and just allowing directors to have their own voice, which that's been something I've been championing, for a while with them. It's just like, bring in directors and just let them have a voice. Like, don't just bring in a director and be like, yeah, so you're going to make this film. Let the directors actually direct, and that's what they did with Thunderbolts. They allowed the guy to direct Thunderbolts to actually make the movie that he wanted to make. And yeah, no, the movie didn't make a lot of money, yeah, but it's just like Thunderbolts is one of my favorite films. It didn't make my top 10, but it was one of my favorite films because it's like, yeah, this is what happens when Marvel and Disney allow their directors to actually be, seen and heard. Yep. And now he's directing the MCU X-Men movie. So there you go.
Nice. And I mean, in closing, I hope that it come the holiday season 2026 that we'll get just a Marvel movie to remember, and just that feeling that we had when we went to the movie theaters before, and just in general, just like a reason to go to the movie theaters. That one annual blockbuster that will have people coming in, like, we had those like sparingly, but just like that same level of anticipation, like that's what, for at least for me, it's like what I'm missing. But I mean, it's gonna be interesting 2026. I mean, just the world of entertainment, with Marvel. We didn't get to talk about the Netflix acquisition of HBO's HBO Max, like, and then Paramount is trying to do a hostile bid, and it's like that's definitely something to talk about definitely next time, because that's a whole nother can of worms there. I have thoughts on just the state of the entertainment and the streaming, just the streaming services in general, like where I feel that can go, because if that were to happen, that's going to be a big monopoly. Well, we're really in a monopoly, but it's going to be even bigger, just more consolidation, and it's not good for the entertainment industry. And we'll definitely have more, talk about more concise, but figure we'll just kind of just wing it for an hour and 30 minutes. And shout outs to StreamYard, because yeah, I was trying to record it locally on my Rodecaster, and yeah, it just like mid recording just conked out. So I was concerned about it happening again and ruin the flow of the show. But so far, this StreamYard held strong. Everything has been recording properly. No issues. So shout outs to StreamYard. And I kind of wish they will bring down the price a little bit. It's a little bit, but it is what it is. But yeah, I guess that is a show. Quickly, where can people find you, my good friend?
They can find The Experience every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. We used to be 9 p.m., but we now moved up an hour early per Justin's request. So now we're 8 p.m. Central Time, which is actually better because lately we've only been doing 90 minutes, like an hour 45 at best. We don't do long shows anymore, which is good because we're getting too old for that. Yeah. I don't have the energy to keep up, for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or do I? But just not for podcasting. But yeah, we at 8 p.m. Central Time, live on YouTube. Also in the Discord, Wrestling Soup Discord. But yeah, we're YouTube people now, so we're trying to get those numbers up. We're currently at 184, so we're trying to grow. That's the goal. And also Friendly Neighborhood Marks with me and RJ. That's usually a show kind of like this. It's usually every other week, where we don't talk about wrestling. We just talk about like movies, comic movies, and shows and shit like that. Sprinkle with a little bit of wrestling. And Metal Drive Hoops, which is a basketball podcast where me and my friend Anthony and his friend Mike, we talk about basketball, preferably the Spurs, because we're all from San Antonio and we all like the Spurs. So that's every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time, live on YouTube. And also social medias, DY Experience on Twitter, so-called Twitter because X is just stupid. So Twitter. And Instagram, you can find me. TikTok, which we get a lot of comments on our TikTok reels, which is usually just people with no faces and like 5 followers talking shit. It's fun. It's hilarious. But that's where you can find me.
Nice, very nice. And again, you can check out Drew's weekly show, his main show, his The Experience on YouTube. Definitely check that out. He is trying to grow on YouTube, and for small creators, it is not an easy task, but it's not impossible. So definitely check him out if you may, and definitely give him a boost, give him a follow. And yeah, for me, Twitter, X, Mr. Ruben Prime, the podcast, the Ruben Prime podcast. Just search it up on all the major digital platforms. Now that I have StreamYard back, we're gonna be doing things consistently again because, like, fuck it, like, I miss doing this just in general, and when I do content, it's a lot of fun, and I want to get back into form. So that's a resolution for me, at least once a week, twice a month, Lord willing. And yeah, Twitch, we're gonna be streaming on Twitch again, hopefully. But if not as consistently with the Twitch, then of course you can hear my voice on here on all the major digital platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, the whole nine. So definitely look out for that. And yeah, guys, Happy New Year. Drew, thank you for jumping on. I know you're exhausted, but
of course,
you're here. Appreciate it. And I talked myself into a shoot, and I got StreamYard, so I'm not gonna let that down because, of course, like I've been itching to get it, but just we had to do it. So yeah, next show, we're gonna at least try to do twice a month, once a month, but definitely we'll try to put out an episode at least once a month. Lord willing, I'm gonna stick to it. And if I don't stick to it, Drew's gonna come into, he's gonna fly down to New York and, kick my ass if I don't. So that's so I don't get my ass kicked.
I will open up a can of whoop ass on Ruben Prime. I got a can just with his name on it.
Oh, you do?
Dying to be open.
Oh man, and I bet it's been shaken up to hell. So
I've been shaking it up. I'm just waiting. Once it opens, you're gonna explosion of ass whooping. But I don't want to whoop your ass because I love you. You're my friend. You're my very good friend. I don't want to whoop your ass, but if I have to.
Yeah, just to whip me into shape. But of course, like, gotta try to keep myself honest this time around. So definitely look out for more content on CultureAttack, and I just cannot wait for this year, regardless of all the craziness that's going on, all the chaos. Feels like 2-3 years wrapped up in one. We're still gonna push, still gonna produce content. and we're gonna try to do our best. Definitely gonna try to do our best here. Excuse me. So yeah, that being said, I'm starving. I can imagine you're
Me too.
hungry as well.
I need actual food because I only had snacks today. I need like actual food.
Yeah, same. Hold on, let me. Okay, boom. Okay, just checking. Okay, so yeah, I need food. I had just had like Ritz crackers. Like one thing I've been trying to do is not eat as much and
Hmm.
just like save for like eat actual food and not just snack. And I just had like Ritz crackers, just to soothe my stomach and all that. But yeah, it's dinner time, so that being said, for myself and Drew Yari, thank you for listening to Culture Attack. Once again, guys, Happy New Year, Happy 2026. And I hope that this year will be better for you guys. So, that being said, again, I'm out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.